We're going to give just a half a second more to get everybody in the room. And should be good. Okay. Thank you everybody again for joining us. Appreciate your spending the afternoon with us. We're going to go ahead and get started. This afternoon, we are joined by the dining team. So we're going to, you guys already know about the chat feature and chatting your comments in. We're 10 weeks into this by now. So if you don't know it by now, we'll talk offline later. So we'll go ahead and get started. Wait, who's speaking first?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay, then take it away.
All right, let me share my screen here. Let's see. Catherine is telling me only one participant can share their screen at a time. It's not giving me the ability. Can you help me out with that? Give me some guidance. It was working a minute ago.
Not sure of anybody else that was sharing screen. Hang on a second.
Not either. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing good today. We'll get this figured out. I was going to go to our website for a few minutes. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about fall readiness, which is the topic of the day, of the week, and something that I know that is on everybody's mind as we get ready for what fall is going to look like.
Try again, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. And as we look at what things are going to look like once the students are back on campus and where we are, I'm still not able to do this, but that's okay. We'll just move on from here. I was going to share our website with you because what I wanted to do first was give everyone just a really quick brief overview of dining services before we go into specific areas being culinary development, residential dining, retail dining, and then operations support.
Brian, did you click on the big green button, not the arrow?
There we go. Hold on. Thank you, Catherine. I knew there was an answer out there somewhere. Let the big dog eat. Here is our dining services website. Our website is a great portal of information for dining services. This is where you can find everything and most anything that you might like to know about the department. Trivia question for the chat box. Can anyone out there tell me what year dining services was founded as a department at the University of Georgia? Can anyone out there tell me that at all? We'll give it a couple of minutes to start populating. And then Catherine, if you can tell me a couple of the answers, because I'm not looking at the chat box, we'll go from there. Suffice it to say, we have been a self-operating department at the University of Georgia for many, many, many years. So if anybody can guess or knows the actual date.
You've got some 1876, 1819, 1806, 1908.
Wait a minute. Who said 1806? Joanne from Snelling, I assume. Is the right Joanne?
That is that Joanne.
All right, Joanne, you win the prize of the day. When we are back on campus and we see each other again, I will try to figure out what that prize is, but I will not forget. Yes, you are correct. Dining services has been a self-operated department on our campus for over 200 years, since 1806. That is an incredible amount of time as a continually operating dining department. So that's a lot to hang our hat on and to be proud about, I think. So there's the trivia of the day. But when you go to the website, you can find lots of information, meal plans. What do we sell? What do we offer? We offer residential plans. We offer commuter plans. We offer faculty and staff plans. We also have other things listed here, Bulldog Box, information for our meal plan scholarship programs that we do in conjunction with Student Affairs. So a lot of great information there. Location and hours. Residential locations, as many of you guys know, we have Bolton, the Village Summit, Oglethorpe Dining Commons, Snelling, and the Niche. Our Associate Director, Danielle, oversees the administrative oversight of these 5 locations, and we have a great team of people that we work with every day to ensure that these operations function at a very high level and provide great services to our campus. Art, who is also presenting today, he oversees our retail locations. These include the following: Athena Mediterranean Kitchen. I won't read them all. Au Bon Pan, Barbaritos, Champions Cafe, on and on and on. Also included in retail operations is campus catering as well. Lots of dining choices across campus. We've got coffee. You can see Starbucks. We've even got sushi. We have the food trucks. So lots of cool stuff going on there. Not listed under this tab as a location is culinary development, but culinary development and nutrition services play hand in hand with one another. And our esteemed chef, Jorge Noriega, oversees this part of the department, and he's going to be talking to you today about things that we're doing to prepare campus and prepare our department for when we are for work readiness in August. So that is nutrition, that's culinary services. Build Your Plate ties into nutrition. Sustainability ties into everything that we do. Here's a separate catering tab. Again, Art oversees administratively the catering department. It's a beautiful website, beautiful imagery. Our catering team, props to them. They are the best catering team that I have ever worked with in my entire career in food services, whether I was in private restaurants or on other campuses. It doesn't matter. Our catering team rocks. But for that matter, we all rock. The entire department is incredible. We have a wonderful team and everybody works really well together. Let's see. And then if we go over here, this is an employment page for if you want to get a job with us or you're a student employee, you want to work, you can find information there. The About Us page is super important. This is where you can find out more information about who we are and what we do. So here we are. These are the folks that are going to be talking to you today. This is me. We have Danielle, residential dining. Art for retail. Susan Van Geech, operations support. Susan and her team in operations support, they're kind of behind the scenes, but no less important than anyone else. They're the folks that are making sure that we're following guidelines related to food safety. They're making sure that we're getting the food that we need from procurement practices and vendors that are coming in. Special projects that we do, renovations, new construction, updates to buildings. It's coming through Susan's leadership. She's a great resource to us. I've known Susan, I was just mentioning it earlier, for almost 20 years now. I've had the pleasure of working with her throughout that time. And to say that she and her team are an asset to the department would be a gross understatement. They are very much a part of the heart and soul of what we do. And their efforts cannot be discounted either. Below Susan there, we have Jorge Noriega, again, our executive chef. And then we just continue to go on down from there, Chris, Paige, and then residential dining team. Everyone's listed there, and so forth and so on, all of our chefs. So, I could go through all of these, but if you ever get a chance, I encourage everyone out there, it's a great way to learn about dining services from an overview standpoint, learn about the meal plans that we offer, get to know those retail locations very well, because you really never know when you might be asked by anyone that comes into any of our facilities, questions about the program and what we do. And it's always good to have that knowledge so that you can speak to guests and students and customers when they come in. So that's a brief overview of the department. Before I turn it over to the rest of the team, what I want to convey to everyone out there is a couple of things. Number one, we as a dining leadership team, we as an auxiliary leadership team, we appreciate what everyone is doing out there every single day. We value your input. We want to hear your ideas. We care about you. We are concerned about your safety and your health and your well-being, not only today, but when we are all back on campus together, hopefully very soon. So to that end, we have been working diligently over the past couple of months to put things into place so that we will be ready for August as it comes. We want to remind everyone, though, that for all the planning that we do, for all the things that we focus on, this is a very fluid situation. So even though we have plans in place today, because of the fluid situation and the fluidity that we're dealing with, Things can change along the way. So it's really important that we all understand that we make decisions oftentimes in the moment that may change very soon thereafter, but we try to make the right decisions. We're going to communicate. We're going to be transparent. We're going to support you guys, the entire team, but we really want to hear from you too, because for everyone that's out there that's on the front lines, you all have incredible input about how we can tackle the obstacles and the challenges that are coming our way in August. And we want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you have to say. But again, just keep in mind, because it is such a fluid situation, it's ever changing, being able to adapt to that change and go with that flow is really important. But we're going to work very hard on behalf of the entire team to make sure that whenever we're making these decisions and putting these plans into place, we're going to communicate these things. We're going to take your input. We're going to be out there talking to everyone because we value you and we care about what you're bringing to the table. We're really focused right now on that personal health and safety component. That includes things like partitions for cashiers, extra sneeze guards added in residential locations, PPE materials like face masks and face shields and things of that nature, social distancing guidelines in all of our restaurants and locations. Super important, because not only are we committed to excellent service and excellent food, but it would go without saying to not include how much we are committed to keeping not only ourselves, but each other safe throughout this process and keep everyone healthy and do the best that we can. Because again, we care about you and we're glad you're on the team. And that's a great way that we can support you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. Chef Jorge has some great information related to culinary development in his side of the house that he can share with you. So Chef Jorge, thank you very much for being here today. And thank you, everyone. Let us know if you have any input or questions. Chef.
Thank you, Brian. Hello, everybody. Again, thank you for being here. Brian mentioned, my name is Jorge Noriega. I'm the executive chef for dining. I've been cooking for probably, in the restaurant business, and cooking for probably 30 odd years, give or take. I came to UGA in 2016, so this is my 4th year at UGA. Before UGA, I was in UCLA. And before that, private restaurants and resorts and things like that. That was a little bit of background. What we're planning on doing, what we're looking at, we've been in contact with all of our partners, mostly our vendor partners or manufacturing partners, trying to secure and see what our availability coming back in August will be. You guys probably have noticed when you go grocery shopping, right now, there's a big difference in price from day to day to day. And for us, at least, I wouldn't say it's a bad, I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing that we're waiting for us to open until August, because all that price fluctuation for the really expensive items that we serve, that being proteins like beef, chicken, pork, will hopefully have stabilized by the time we are back in operation and by the time we are using the volume that we need to use. A lot of our vendors are sharing that right now is a really tricky time. So looking at a menu and looking at what we will do coming back in August, Brian used the word fluidity, and that's an understatement, because even though we are expecting to have a level market, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know exactly what the behavior will be when all the universities start coming back online. Universities in a business like ours are the ones that draw the higher volume of all these items. So the capability to adapt in dining and with the menu and the chef to be able to modify things as we go and when we come back is really important. thankfully, we work with a great group of chefs. They are capable of looking and using our inventory and ordering system, which is called FoodPro. It's a love it or hate it relationship with FoodPro. And we are able to modify on the go and keep things fluid. I'm gonna go a little bit offline here. We're having a bet to see how many times we use the word fluid, and I think I'm gonna lose. So yeah, I said that. I work really close with the menu, with the purveyors, with the vendors, and things like that. But I also work really close with nutrition. Important for us to know what we're buying, when we're buying, and how we're buying it, and so we can put the right information, nutritional information, allergen information in the website. I work really close with Catherine Ingerson, our nutritionist, and Maria McDaniel, or technical nutrition tech. And we, again, that word fluid, that word being able to adapt is going to be really important for us, because we will try our best to have a menu that have all the proper information, but we will have to be able to think on our feet, be able to move, and be able to adapt. Well, again, going back to the markets and capabilities, you guys have seen the price of beef, meaning that probably when we come back from fall, some beef items will be rotated in and out. Some pork items will be rotated. We will have to offer different points of time. We will have to offer different recipes that will use beef in different ways. But I'm also extremely lucky that, like, as I said, that our chef team in dining is extremely strong. So I know that moving forward, we'll be able to provide the type of service that you guys are accustomed, and our guests, the student body, is accustomed to. In reality, that's it, pretty much.
So Chef, somebody asked a question about in the chat box. Let's see, it was, what about places like the grill that use beef? So not sure if you want to mention the menu modifications that we are looking at.
Can you repeat the question, Danielle? Sorry, I can't see the chat.
That's okay. The question was, what about places like the grill that use beef every day, basically?
So that's one of the things you guys are seeing, the it's not high demand, it's low production on ground beef. We work with a local partner, beef purveyor in Atlanta, which pretty much grounds our beef. For us, that won't be that big of an issue, because the persons who are buying the burger beef patties, they produce their ground beef. They're not depending on IBF production or some of the bigger beef companies to get the ground beef. Now that it'll be a moot point for some other things that we use ground beef for, but our partner in Atlanta produces the ground beef from primals. That's how our burgers are. That's how we get our burgers from. Our burgers are a mix of short rib, brisket, and chuck. So it's a tailored blend of ground beef. So that's, for us, thankfully, won't be an issue. And again, the market will stabilize. Hopefully the market will stabilize, and the big companies that produce ground beef will have their SOPs on place, so to be able to produce the beef safely for their team and in the quantities needed.
Jorge, we've been asked too, is that producer serving all of USG or just UGA?
It's my understanding that right now it's only us. We buy it through a local producer in Atlanta through US Foods, but right now it's my understanding that we are the only ones that buy that blend.
Are there any places on campus that use plant-based meat clones like the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Burger?
Not currently. We have extremely tasty veggie patty that we offer in all board operations. That means the board operation of restaurants like Bolton, Summit, Oglethorpe, and Snelling, which is extremely good and tasty. I will put it against anything else that we have that you could get, and I want to use the word, it's a little bit more financial sustainable than the Beyond Meats of the world and things like that. It's a lot healthier, I believe so. But that will be a question for Catherine. If she's listening, she probably can chime in on that.
Ryan also chimed in and said that O House has a mushroom/beef blended burger that's pretty good.
It's extremely good. And that, again, is something that is a local partnership with not the same, different vendor out of Atlanta, which they went through all the hoops to go with the USDA to be able to bring mushrooms into their location so they can produce our 70-30 blended beef patty at our house. That if I didn't tell you it was a mushroom blended burger, you wouldn't know that it's a mushroom blended burger. It's so good. But again, with 30% less calories.
That's a win-win.
Always.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So I think I'm up next.
Yes.
So from the residential dining side of things, it's a really interesting new normal that we're trying to face. And we keep hearing all these terms, new normal, fluid. It's just those buzzwords that everybody use. My new normal is my kid doesn't get out of bed until 11 o'clock and then watches her tablet all day long. So, what we as a team are trying to do is be as conscious as we can of what we can say, this is what's going to happen now with the information that we have, so that we don't have to come back to people and tomorrow and say, oh wait, we had to change that. So the residential dining teams have been really working on focusing on what the layouts will look like in the restaurant, and so Catherine, can we bring up the Snelling diagram, please? What the restaurant layouts will look like, what it will look like for students to get their food to go, as well as through Grubhub. So what you can kind of see here is a very beginning diagram for what Snelling may look like. So you will see by the front door of Snelling, the blue line, that will be for folks to order Grubhub. And so we are moving in a path that Grubhub to go orders will be available at all of the residential dining halls, so that they can be picked up from a separate entrance. And so that blue is where you see the Grubhub component. So the green lines that you see, those are the flow patterns that we're determining for the restaurant. And so what you will see is there's two green lines. They're coming in from separate turnstiles, going in different directions and going out different doors, which is going to be that new normal for a while for us, because we don't want to compact people in the lobby. That front door to Snelling is very small. So we want to make sure that they can go out from the opposite direction. And again, that is so that we can try to comply with whatever social distancing guidelines may come up. The other thing that you'll see, which is a new normal, and we are still really working out those details. So I don't have a whole lot of information to share on it, but we are going to be meeting with the folks from Grubhub next week to look at a potential reservation system, because we know that seating capacities in the restaurants, we won't be able to have the same amount of seats. So currently, Snelling can hold about 550 people, but with the current guidelines of 10 people per 300 square feet, and again, those are the guidelines right now, Snelling will only be able to have about 250 people in the building at a time. So that is really going to change the dynamic of service and how we are able to allow customers to come in and sit down. So again, right now, our strategies are really kind of focusing on that to-go piece, both through, we have ordered about 12,000 more of the green Bulldog box containers. And so we intend to try to use those reusable to-go box reusable to-go boxes as opposed to having to do all of the disposables, which is not a really sustainable model. And again, still really working out some of the details for that. And so with that, so I see that there was a couple of questions about, does that 250 people include employees, and where are employees going to eat? And so the answer to that question is it would include any employees that are in that specified seating area. It wouldn't include employees that are behind the line or in the kitchen area. That is a different square footage pattern. But we will, in each location, try to designate a seating area for employees to be able to take their breaks. Absolutely. So I wanted to then also touch base a little bit about the some of those safety precautions. So if Catherine, you could pop up the picture of Bolton. So again, you can see in this picture a little bit more new normal for everybody. We're really used to a lot of our dining halls, and Snelling is really the exception to that. But most of our dining halls have a lot of self-serve stations. And so what you're seeing here is for safety reasons, we will be converting all of those self-serve stations into served stations. So what you're looking at here is the new sneeze guards that have been installed at Bolton, but they've also been installed at all other locations. You know, we haven't even taken the tape off of them yet. But all of those lines are going to transition to service so that we have that added safety to the food, and we don't have, you know, every customer that comes in the building touching the utensils and serving their own food. And so that again is what you're going to see as one of those safety precautions, as well as what Brian mentioned. We are having fabricated plexiglass areas for the cashier stations to promote their safety as well. And all of that, it also follows behind all of the new sanitation procedures that we're going to have, sanitation equipment that we're going to use, which Susan is going to touch on when she talks. So that's kind of where we're at with residential dining. I'm so proud of the team. You know, just to echo what Brian said, this is a very fluid situation, and we really want everybody's feedback. So the management teams currently have been working on plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, you know, to kind of go along with what that all looks like depending upon what phase we're in. But I was talking to one of the teams today and reminding them that we will develop these plans, but then when we get back and I'm just going to throw out Miss Jackie's name at Summit, because that's what we were, that's who I talked about. You know, if we put together a plan for the grill, but Miss Jackie comes and tells us, you know, hey, this really is not working for me. I think we need to move this here and move this here and move this here. Her input and feedback on the matter is critical, because she's the one that's working behind the station. And we want to make sure that she's safe, and that the product is safe, and safety needs to be the #1 concern. So that's really the directions that we're moving in on the residential side. Dana asked a question about delivering a set number of box lunches to dorms to reduce in-person contact. So Dana, that's actually on a list of things that we're looking at, not necessarily delivering to dorms, but you know, with the additional Grubhub piece, can there be some pickup stations? And Art will probably touch on in a minute about the potential uses for the food truck that we've been discussing as well, to help out on the residential side. And I saw that Shelley had a hand up, but I think we're probably waiting for questions at the end. But that's it for me on the residential side. I will turn it over to Art.
Hey everybody, hope everybody's well. I'd like to introduce myself. Some of you don't know me. My name is Art Defrancisco. I'm the Associate Director of Retail Operations here at the university. And really, the retail operations are broken up into 3 different kind of little departments. And they're led by 3 really good people that we have working within our department. The first is led by Tamala Foreman, and she leads Coffee and Bagels, Au Bon Pan, Red Clay Cafe, Campus Markets, and the food truck. And the next person is Max Grant. And Max leads Chick-fil-A, Panda, Niche Pizza, Starbucks, Market at Tate, Barbaritos, and Athena Mediterranean Kitchen. The third person is Jessica Rogers, and she leads the catering crew. So the question is, what do these 3 people have in common that have been working for us for a while? And I'll answer it myself. They were all UGA graduates, and they all worked for dining services when they were students. So they've been working for us for a long time. A little bit more about my past. I've worked in dining services, not here in Georgia, but food services for 35 years. I've worked at the University of Georgia for 13 years. I started out as an assistant manager at the Village Summit. From there, I went to Bolton as a unit manager, from old Bolton to the new Bolton, and then I became an operations manager at the Tate Center, and now I'm the associate director of retail operations. So that's enough about my past, my history. Let's talk about the situation that we're going to be getting into in the fall. As Danielle said, and everyone has said, is very fluid. And it's going to be the new normal, this new situation that we're in. So I have a diagram of the Tate Center. Catherine, if you could pull that out, we'll go over that. And to start out next semester, this is going to be the new normal for us. You know, this is all based on a philosophy of everything is going to be takeout. So, you know, people will enter, if you're familiar with the Tate Center, people will enter through the iron gates, come through here. It's hard to see because I know this is a small diagram, but they will enter through here, and there will only be one entrance, and it will be at the iron gates. So, you know, this is kind of a fluid situation since, you know, we will be talking about this later, and we're not exactly sure what the university has in mind for us when we open, but this could become the new norm. So we will have one port of entry through the iron gates, and then we will have, everything else will be exits. To the right of Niche Pizza, where the pull down gate is, that will be an exit. The door right next to that, which faces the bookstore, that will be an exit. The other door, which kind of faces the other part of the Tate Center, New Tate, that will be an exit. Also right there, we will be doing Grubhub pickups. So we will be doing them outside. So the Grubhub pickups won't be at the units like they currently are right now. That will be outside. So as you can see, people will enter through here, and then the line for Niche Pizza will begin right at Niche Pizza. Everyone will be at 6 feet apart, kind of like the new norm that we're going to have for everything. They'll be 6 feet apart. Also, we will they'll exit through the gated, the pull down door, and as you can see, Chick-fil-A looks like Disneyland. You know, also the new norm will be tension barriers everywhere at the Tate Center in our location. Tension barriers and tape. And you will work your way through here. Everybody's 6 feet apart on both sides of the aisle, and they will come to Chick-fil-A. To the counter, which we will have sneeze guards to protect our employees, and they will be able to take their order, and the customers will wait at their station until their order is done, and they will come down to the end of the counter and get their order, and then they will exit through the exit, any exit they prefer from here, probably the exit right where you know, we have the Grubhub right outside. Panda Express, their line, they will come, their line will kind of start where it usually does. And really this is like a game day scenario pretty much, except it's on steroids. There's a lot more lines and a lot more social distancing. We won't have any tables set up. You know, we will put the tables against the wall that faces the bookstore, and we will leave them there, and there will be no inside seating. So like I said, Panda Express will come in, and they will also be in a Disneyland type scenario with twists and turns, but they will be 6 feet apart, and they will be able to place their orders at the counter. The counter will also have newly installed sneeze guards and to keep everyone safe. And after they place their order, they will come around and they will go out either one of these exits on the side over here. And I see from Jean, she says Six Flags. Yes, Jean, it will be very similar to Six Flags. But we're trying to do the right thing and keep everybody safe. We're trying to keep our employees safe and our customers safe, and we'll do the best job we can do with that. But like I said, the new norm will be sneeze guards, tension barriers, tape on the floor, and you know, a lot of people working in the outer areas. We will have people at every entrance and exit, trying to guide people through to keep people from congregating. You know, the new norm now is about congregating, keeping people away from each other, and we will do our best to help out with that situation. Also, the new norm will consist of no time clocks. We will not be using time clocks because for one, the touching could spread germs, and also it's a congregation point. And also, we will have, we're thinking about having designated areas in the back of the house for employees to take breaks. We'll figure out a system before we get started for that, where there won't be much contact between employees, you know, when they're taking their breaks. And also, one other thing that'll be coming soon, we'll have specific training in regards to the, you know, the PPE and the different protocols that we'll be enforcing, or not enforcing, but we'll be putting in place when we start back up again. So take a look at it. This is probably the new norm that we're going to be seeing in a lot of the operations. I just wanted to kind of show this one. The other retail operations are not as complicated as this, but as far as coffee and bagels and Red Clay Cafe and Starbucks and the Market at Tate, we will have plans for them also, but we don't have enough time today to go over those. So I just wanted to hope everybody is good. Everybody hang in there. I miss everyone. As you can see, my daughter has been cutting my hair, and it's a little short on this side and a little long on this side. So I can't wait to get a decent haircut. I'm not letting my hair grow like Brian and Farron is. I'm keeping up with it every 2 weeks and cutting it myself. So the new norm for me is I am going to cut my hair probably every 2 weeks and see what happens until I can get a decent haircut. So,
all right, thank you for calling out my new norm. I appreciate that. Hey, can I chime in for a minute? Because there's a couple of important, good things here in the chat box that I'm seeing. One, Julia has passed on to us from YouTube. Do I need a mask for the pot sink? The answer to that is yes, you will. Under current Department of Public Health guidelines that we have received, all dining services employees will be required to wear a mask while working. That is very clear in the Department of Public Health guidelines, and we will have to adhere to that across the board. So that's one of the reasons that we're working very hard on procuring those PPE materials that do include face masks. For those folks that are working in the dish rooms, and when you think about that, maybe in high splatter areas, if you will, we've also been able to get some face shields if you were to choose to wear something like that. There could be some fogging issues and some heat issues related to that. But again, we want that option to be there for you if you're in that environment, if that helps you feel safer and more protected. The Department of Public Health is not telling us that face shields are required, but what they are telling us is that face masks, the cloth ones that cover your nose and mouth, that those will be required when we come back. And then also too, I think Gene here has mentioned tape on the floors for distancing. Yeah, probably Gene, something like tape. We've also been looking at some different companies have some different floor graphics that look a little bit more professional than just simply tape. So we're looking at those things as well. And then Michael has asked about implementing temperature scanners into the units. All employees, when they come into our units in dining, will have to go through basically, if you will, it's a type of health screening. No one will be allowed to work if they have a temperature, exhibiting specific symptoms. There's a responsibility on the employee side and on the employer side based on what Department of Public Health is telling us. And the number one thing is that if you're not feeling well, please stay home. We'd love to have you at work, but if you're not well, we will manage and do good work while you get better. So we want everyone to keep their own health and safety, at the forefront and how that looks. Jason has asked, am I still serving in an interim role in auxiliary? I am. Thank you for asking. But I am still doing that and enjoying that. Oh, and that was a private message. Sorry if that was not meant to be shared, so I didn't see that. But anyway, I am. But with that, I've gone off topic enough. I think, Art, are you have anything else, or is it Susan's turn now?
I just wanted to say one more thing that hope everybody stays safe. Looking forward to seeing everybody again and getting back to work. Everybody hang in there. That's all I have.
Susan, you're muted.
Good, Susan.
we're breaking out there for just a sec. Not sure what's happening. Could be. You're good right there. So hold your arm up just a little bit. You know, hold your tongue a certain way. You should be good to go.
Thanks, Susan. Appreciate the input. Back to the chat box too. Gene Johnson posed a really good question a few minutes ago. What happens with quote unquote sick out points? That's referring to the dining services attendance policy, the point system. Gene, if you will recall, and anyone else out there that's on the call, if you will recall that prior to the current situation, dining services, we sent out a notification to all team members that we were effectively suspending the point system while all this was going on. The last thing that we want to do is create, an environment that pressures people to come to work when they're not feeling well or when they're sick. We'll be continually evaluating that attendance policy. Not really sure what that's going to look like in the future or where it actually ends up, but I think that what we're going to do is work with the HR team and kind of do a deep dive on, whereas that attendance policy may have worked for us in the past, it's probably not the best choice for us moving forward. It will remain in a suspended type mode when we come back. So I don't want anyone worrying about that. Because again, the bottom line is if you're not feeling well, you just simply need to stay home. And that's the most important thing. And there's a lot of things on the chat box about safety and health and all those things going on. And, and that is at the forefront of everything that we're thinking about right now is how do we ourselves and our customers and our community healthy and safe throughout all of this. Because, if you're like me, you're probably worried a little bit about that. And I don't mind saying that because I am a little worried about it. Last thing I want to do is get someone else sick or bring it home to my family. I want the same thing for you guys. I don't want you to have to worry about it any more than you may already be worried. So we're going to continue to work very hard and put forth an incredible amount of effort to ensure to the best of our abilities that when we are back full swing in August, in that new normal, what that looks like, that your health and your safety and our health and safety across the board is number one priority, bottom line. And we will stay committed to that throughout. You have my word with that. Anybody else from the panel want to add in? We still got a few minutes. We still have some time for questions from people out there.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in, Jean had asked a question earlier on about the to-go boxes and if somebody wants to get a salad and mainline item and how will the return be handled. So Jean, that's something actually that we're continuing to work on. We have these preliminary diagrams. And on Friday, we're doing some walkthroughs to kind of walk through the diagram and really kind of determine how that flow works. As far as the boxes being returned, Bolton's currently the only location that hadn't been participating in the Bulldog box. So that will be very similar. There'll be a receptacle and a check-in point at the front door for those boxes to be returned to. There were two other questions that came up. There was a number of people who asked if they would be able to wear their own homemade masks. And Paige is asking if we will be open to the public.
So as far as the masks go, we haven't made a determination quite yet about the homemade masks. We will be supplying masks, we know that. And we're working very hard to make sure that everyone will have a clean mask every single day that they work. We just don't know about the homemade mask piece yet. So just stay tuned for more information. Again, we're still trying to figure out, a lot of things here. And that also goes into the Page question about being open to the public. We are a public institution, Page, so, we may have to be. But there again, we're in an unusual situation and we're, things are changing all the time. So there's still many questions that we have to wrap our heads around and kind of get some guidance from, probably from USG and the university as a whole. And we want to make sure that we're being consistent, not only with the messaging that comes from the university itself, but with what other institutions across USG are doing across the state. So, you know, we're still waiting on, in many cases, more information to come in to give us a little bit more clarity on some of these questions that are coming up. They're great questions, and they are things that we've been thinking about.
Two things that also popped up. Michael Walraven asked if UGA was going to start producing its own sanitizing products. And I think Chris Fagan jumped in on that, but we'll put that on our list, as well as Shaterica mentioned that someone she knows where they work, they've installed a lever that you press with your leg to be able to turn on the water for the sink. So nobody has to touch the handles, which I think is a great idea. So thank you. We will have to look in to that as well. Patty asked if everybody was going to be required to get a flu shot. And to answer your question, Brittany, we do not yet have information on students coming back to work and when that may happen.
Yeah, and as far as the flu shots go, you know, I've been on a lot of committees and subcommittees in the past couple of months, and things like flu shot requirements have never come up, and that's not for us to make the call on, and I would seriously doubt that would be a requirement, but it's not really something that I can speak to very well, other than saying that kind of information has not been mentioned. Let's see, what else? We got another minute to go.
Somebody said, where will the students eat their takeout food?
Anywhere but with us.
Anywhere but in the restaurant.
Anywhere but the restaurant. That's right. You know, once they leave the building, it's up to them to go and socially distance and be responsible with their own actions. Again, what we're focused on is getting them in and out in a timely fashion, adhering to social distancing guidelines, using a reservation system with very limited in-house seating in residential locations is certainly on the table for something we're looking at. But again, the idea is create an environment and create service options that promote obtaining high quality, nutritionally beneficial food items that can be picked up very quickly and taken off-site to eat somewhere else. You know, the Department of Public Health guidelines that we're working under currently, which again can change between now and August, really severely limit how many customers we can have sitting in a dining room at any given time. So, and we've got to be very careful that we follow those guidelines, and we will. And we will get through this together, folks. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to say that it's not going to be difficult at times, because it probably will be. But if we rely upon each other and we prop each other up and we serve each other, we will get through this. One of my mentors from the past, a guy that many of us know, Mike Floyd, many years ago in a very challenging situation that I was facing, he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, Brian, he goes, put your chin up, go do your job. This too shall pass, and this is going to pass too. And we're going to come out of this on a much better level. We're already a stronger work family, just as what we've been doing with these auxiliary connection sessions. And we're going to keep that up when we come back, and we're going to lean on each other and rely upon each other and be the family that we are. And that makes me really proud when I think about those things, because again, we care about everyone, we care about each other, and the only way that we're going to get through this is by being there for one another, and that's going to be hopefully our commitment to each other. I know that's my commitment to you.
I want to add, I love all of the good ideas that I saw flowing through the chat section. So please, 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 we want to hear all of those ideas. You know, so because y'all may have seen things out somewhere that we haven't seen, and I love the thing with the pedestal thing for the sink. So, you know, keep those ideas flowing. Y'all know how to get in touch with us, because we really do want to involve everybody in these processes.
All right. Well, that pretty much concludes our time. We're a little couple of minutes over. Danielle, Art, Jorge, Susan, Julia, Catherine, thanks so much for being here today. We appreciate everything. We appreciate all y'all out there. Great participation day, 154 people on the call. Those are good numbers. So
we had 180 at one point. I think they just have dwindled down, but we were up to 180 there for half a minute. So
but I don't know if y'all can hear Emmett screaming for his mom in the background. If I had $1 for every time I've heard that over the past
Dana said, I think your child is dying.
I wouldn't be working. No, it's just he's having a moment. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thanks everybody for being here. Catherine, thank you for all your help, and Julia too in the background. And I know, speaking for us, I can say it. I hope we're all working together again really, really soon.
we'll see you
Absolutely.
tomorrow morning. Join us at 10 o'clock. It's going to be the marketing. It took me a second. It's going to be the marketing communications team, and they'll be presenting for us in the morning. So see everybody at 10 o'clock. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and see you then.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.